February 6, 2019. Michael Cochran was 38 years old, an Army veteran in seemingly great shape. But that evening, he collapsed at his home in West Virginia, plunging into a sudden and violent medical emergency. At the hospital, doctors ran his lab work and found an alarming anomaly. Michael's blood glucose level had plummeted to 21 milligrams per deciliter. For a healthy, non-diabetic adult, a normal reading sits between 70 and 99. A drop to 21 means the brain is starving. It causes severe hypoglycemia, triggering confusion, seizures, and rapid organ failure. Without an underlying pancreatic disease, a healthy human body simply does not produce a crash this steep on its own. While his parents stood by his ICU bed in agonizing panic, Michael's wife, Natalie Cochran, sat in the corner of the room. She remained on her laptop and phone, actively texting about business contracts while her husband lay comatose on a ventilator. Michael never regained consciousness, passing away a few days later in hospice. At the time, his death was ruled a medical mystery, leaving investigators to determine how a healthy man's blood sugar could reach a lethal, physiological impossibility. Investigators determined Michael was injected with an overwhelming dose of exogenous insulin. While insulin is a naturally occurring hormone used safely every day to manage diabetes, in massive, unprescribed doses, it acts as a lethal poison. Proving this in an autopsy presents a massive forensic challenge. Insulin breaks down rapidly in the body, especially during post-mortem decomposition, leaving medical examiners with little to no direct trace of the chemical itself. This composite image shows an insulin pen and cartridges, the exact type of medication involved. Natalie held a doctorate in pharmacy. She had years of experience dispensing these specific medications and knew exactly how to access pharmaceutical-grade insulin, even though no one in their home was prescribed it. She understood exactly how the human body metabolizes the hormone. By weaponizing her professional training, she chose a nearly invisible method to commit murder in plain sight. On paper, Natalie and Michael lived a highly successful life. They drove luxury cars, took expensive vacations, and ran businesses they claimed were securing lucrative government defense contracts. But those contracts didn't exist. Natalie had abandoned her pharmacy career to run a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme, using the illusion of a government contracting firm to lure in unsuspecting investors. Over $2.5 million flowed from victims, including Michael's parents, into Natalie's accounts to fund her lifestyle. When money stopped, she stalled the panic by forging federal emails and fabricating a cancer diagnosis. Her entire existence rested on a fragile network of lies. To keep the truth hidden from her community and her husband, she resorted to increasingly desperate and sociopathic measures. By early 2019, time had run out. Michael was fielding complaints from unpaid investors and demanding answers about their mounting unexplained debts. He decided to verify their finances himself. Michael scheduled a chartered flight for the morning of February 6th to visit a bank in Lynchburg, Virginia, where Natalie claimed their millions were safely secured. If he got on that plane, he would discover the accounts were empty. So, that morning, Natalie canceled the flight. Sometime during those same hours, she injected him with a massive, lethal dose of insulin. As his blood sugar crashed, she watched him suffer. She later admitted to her mother-in-law that she let Michael lay unresponsive on their couch for 7 hours before finally calling an ambulance. Cold, precise tone. Natalie treated the murder as a calculated business decision, executed to keep her financial secrets buried. At her 2025 murder trial, Natalie's defense team leaned heavily on the passage of time. Because Michael's body wasn't exhumed and tested until months after his death, they argued the extreme decomposition made it impossible to definitively find an injection site or direct traces of insulin. They tried to shift the blame entirely to Michael, suggesting his heart failed due to his daily consumption of dozens of unregulated health supplements and bodybuilding steroids. The prosecution countered with the lasting effects of the poison. The chemical insulin may have vanished from his system, but the physiological damage it caused to his organs was permanent and measurable. Look closely at this microscopic slide of liver tissue. Pathologists found a severe depletion of glycogen, the body's main energy storage. A healthy man does not suddenly drain his liver of glycogen unless an overwhelming amount of insulin forces the body into a rapid metabolic crash. That metabolic anomaly offered a permanent record of the crime. The hard forensic data pierced right through the defense's narrative, overcoming the natural decay of the evidence. In January 2025, a West Virginia jury saw through the deception. They found Natalie Cochran guilty of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in state prison without the possibility of parole, a punishment she will serve consecutively with the 11-year federal sentence she had already received for her multi-million-dollar fraud. During the trial, Michael's grieving family confronted her directly. They described the financial devastation, the cruelty of her fake tears, her total lack of remorse, calling it pure evil. Natalie Cochran turned her medical oath into a weapon to protect a lie. What do you think was the single most damning piece of evidence that finally broke her facade? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.